Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for remaining with us. You're watching Smart 24 TV, and thank you for deciding to, choose business. And of course, Smart 24 means business, 24 hours, 7 days a week. If you want information regarding business, you want to find out what's trending, where is the business at in Kampala, definitely you have to stay tuned here on Smart 24 TV. And we will remain, of course, your number one supporters of business in Uganda and in East Africa as a whole. Now, today, we're still talking about the stock market performances yesterday. But before, I would like to remind you today, we have a very special guest who is going to be coming to join us very shortly. And this is Miss Sharon Tumushabe, who is the Vice President Advisory, Zeno Investment Management. She has been here before on the show. And she's a very exciting lady, and she's going to be talking about the critical success factors of the unit trust funds. Of course, Zeno is one of the fund managers who are licensed by the Capital Markets Authority, and they have been able to make some of the biggest ventures into technological advancement, and of course, getting to see that more people are getting to invest in the financial markets. And so we're going to be talking a little bit about Zeno, about how far they have gone with the first quarter performance and the second quarter, which we have already covered, and what we should expect as we come to the end of the third quarter. You don't want to miss out on this one. You can hit us up on Twitter and leave us with a comment and get to see how we can catch up later on and get to see that we both get moving in terms of the unit trust. Remember, the unit trust is one of the very the fastest growing funds, if I can say, or investment channels that Ugandans are getting more and more interested in by the day. So we're going to be talking more about that. It's for young people, it is for old people, it's for everyone who wants to invest and put aside money instead of just keeping it in a bank account or in a box that they want to put to certain use. And of course, because it's a collective investment scheme, definitely you have a very huge fund of money under experts that can be able to grow that fund and give back value to their clients. And Zeno Investment is one of those companies. You don't want to miss out on that session. Now, moving forward, we were still looking at some of the top performers yesterday on the stock market. MTN Uganda was one of the losers, unfortunately. I think the second day in a row, MTN has been able to lose some stock. MTN, for starters, has been listed on the exchange since the 6th of December 2021. And MTN trades under the ticker symbol MTNU with the securities International Securities Identification Number UG0001566. Now, MTN Uganda currently is the second most valuable stock with a total market capitalization of over 4.03 trillion Ugandan shillings, which makes about 18.3% of the entire Uganda Securities Exchange. A quite young stock, but very valuable on the stock market here in Uganda. Now, yesterday, MTN shed off 0.19 shillings of their price valuation, closing the day with a total price of 180 shillings. And that was a 0.11% loss on the daily calculator. Now, when you look at the traded volumes that led to this loss, probably, there were about 13,650 shares that were traded with a value of over 2.46 million yesterday. And the shares outstanding currently are still at 22.4 billion these are shares outstanding, 22.4 billion shares. And when you multiply that by 180, the current stock price, you come up with over the 4.03 trillion market capitalization. Now, like I've said, MTN, after the last day of trading, that of course was 6th of September yesterday, it lost about 19 shillings to close the day at 180 shillings. That was a 0.11% drop that we have recorded from the previous 180.19 Ugandan shillings that we have seen before. Now, MTN began the year, however, with a price of over 194.99 Ugandan shillings, close to approximately 195. And since the beginning of the year, the company has lost a value of over 7.69%. That is in terms of their year-to-date performance. And they are currently ranked number 9 in terms of the year-to-date performance. Comparing the day 1st of January, when the day when the year opened, to the current 6th September, when the price, of course, we are monitoring 180. And this comes as, of course, MTN is a young stock, and definitely many people at that time were very uncertain what to do with their stock. Many people were new investors, especially because MTN made it so easy for people to buy stock. So you found that actually very many people, young people, old people, working adults, and so many others were able to get to invest. However, slightly after the company got listed on the main board of the exchange, there was still a decline in the prices. And so many people who didn't quite understand well how really the stock markets work, they started trading off very quickly, and they traded their stock very much there. You can see on the graph for MTN, you will realize between the month of January and the month of around in the middle of February, between Feb and March, you're seeing a very sharp decline from over 200 shillings to down to over 160. The bottom that we are seeing, the rock bottom that the stock price has hit since the listing of the company in December 2021. So you can see that definitely indicates the behavior or the attitude with which many investors came on the exchange to buy shares, thinking that probably this is going to earn them money overnight. The company is going to do very good, and then they disappointingly don't find the case that this is not the case actually, and you're seeing that that led to a very significant decline in prices. However, the company picked up later on up to 180, and there were a few fluctuations, but the bottom, the average prices have been still between 180 and 175, 180, 190 and 200 shillings as well. Now, this company, MTN Uganda, is the 4th most traded stock. This is very interesting. On the Uganda Securities Exchange, since the 2nd of June to the 6th of September, the company has traded a total volume of 14.5 million shares. And these are valued at over 2.74 billion Ugandan shillings. Now, that's quite something, yes? You're having over 14.5 million shares transacted within a period of 3 months, and 2.74 billion being transacted over this period. With an average, they have an average value of over 229,994 shares that have been traded per trading session during this period. And they have had a volume high of over 2.28 million shares that are valued at, that were done, of course, that was 2.28 million shares that were traded on the 22nd of August within this period of June 2nd to 6th of September. In the last 10 days of activity, you're seeing that the company has had trade on the 6th, they had trade on the 5th, then they had trade on the 2nd, then they traded also on the 31st of August and the 29th, as well as the 26th of August. So relatively a very active stock, very promising right there for all investors. I would advise you get some stock in MTN. Get some stock in MTN if you are looking for long-term gain and, of course, for activity. If you're looking at a company that can give you value for money within the shortest period of time, probably MTN is one of those companies, definitely, that you should be looking out for at your desk. And then we can look at other companies here, several other companies that were able to do some activity. Wumeme definitely traded some good volume. However, there was still something lacking. When you look at their stock price, it hasn't changed for quite some good days within the last 4 weeks. I think it has only changed between 190 to 200 shillings. But yesterday, the trade was really good. They had a total volume of over 208,173 shares and a gross turnover of 41.6 million. Their current capitalization is 325 billion and over 1.62 billion outstanding shares on the market. In terms of when you look at their year-to-date performance, yes, you can be highly optimistic that the company's stock has accrued over 5% within the last 4 weeks alone. However, on the year-to-date performance, the company began with a price of around 189 shillings, and currently, when you compare that with the 200 shillings, they have still accrued over 5.82% on their price valuation, ranking them the third in terms of year-to-date performance. As well, when you look at the traded volumes, they're still one of the most traded stock on the exchange. You're looking at the third best within the last 3 months. Looking at, of course, trading between the 2nd of June to the 6th of September. Yes, Wumeme has had over 21.9 million shares being traded on the counter at exactly 4.77 billion Ugandan shillings, with an average of 347,042 traded per session. And yes, based on the quarterly reports that, of course, we receive from the capital markets and also from the Uganda Securities Exchange, Wumeme still came out on top within the last 2 quarters, the first 2 quarters of 2022. That is in terms of traded volumes and in terms of turnover. It was still one of the top companies that many people have been, of course, looking at to invest, especially foreign investors. Of course, this is quite an advantage, but a disadvantage as well. We don't want many foreign investors, but we are seeing that more and more foreign investors are invested in the Wumeme stock. The other company closely competing within the same realm of turnover and also market capitalization is Stanbic Bank, but definitely Wumeme still has an edge over all those other companies. It's exactly 19 minutes past the hour of 11. I would like to remind you, very soon we are going to be having one of our very good friends here on the show, Madame Sharon Tumushave. She's from Zeno Investment, and we are talking the unit trust and what the Zeno perspective, of course, will give us within the critical success factors. What are some of the things that we should look out for right now? What's new and trending in the unit trust? Are we seeing some growth, or we are seeing some little bit of decline in their performance? Definitely, we will be talking to her. You can hit us up on Twitter right now if you have a question, if you have a concern that you would want to put to Zeno Investments. Definitely, you will get it answered within no time. Now, let's have a look very slightly at the Nairobi Securities Exchange and how the markets were able to play out yesterday. Yesterday's trading was actually pretty awesome. We had over 46 listed companies participate in trading, ending the day with over 25 gainers and 14 losers. Uchumi Supermarket, after a very long time, came in as the top gainer after gaining about 8% on their share price and closing the day with the price of 0.27 Kenyan shillings per share, followed by Britam Holdings, who also gained by about 7.76%. And then we had Safaricom gaining by about 6.88% on their stock price. And Wumeme, very fortunately, there also came in as a gainer at 6.67%. On the losing side, however, we had East African Portland Cement Company, who came out last on an end-of-day price depreciation of about 9.61%, closing at 6.96 Kenyan shillings per share, followed by Unga Group. Unga was one of the top companies in the recent few weeks, but has registered a poor performance as of recently, especially yesterday, after losing over 9.26%. Whereas Car in general lost 9% on their price valuation. Safaricom recorded the highest volume yesterday with over 7.4 million traded shares on the trading day yesterday. And then we had Kenya Power and Lighting Company also trade 1.82 million shares, and then NCBA Group at 678,700 shares. Regarding the performance of the index, the benchmark index soared by 6.58 points. That was a 4.68% increase on a daily basis. And then on a weekly basis, we're still seeing a gain of over 6.62% and a 4-week gain still of 2.95%. Generally speaking, the markets in Nairobi are returning to their former glory, I have to say. Before the elections, of course, we were seeing very poor performances on the exchange in Nairobi, but definitely perhaps because of now the calm that has returned within the political arena in Kenya, we are hoping definitely that even the markets will do much better. Remember, you're not limited as an investor. You can invest across East Africa. You can invest across the continent. You can even invest abroad in the West on the New York Stock Exchange. All you need to do is to have the knowledge and definitely the resources to get you there. And definitely we will give you a hand on that. You're still watching Smart 24 TV. My name is Anthony. Please hit us up on our Twitter and get us, of course, some questions that you may have and concerns, because we're going to be having Zeno Investment with their Vice President Advisory, Madame Sharon Tumushabe. Of course, a very wonderful lady there, and she will be discussing more about the unit trust at Zeno and what Zeno has for you in store. We're going to take a very quick breather. We'll return very shortly. Please stay with us.